there 120%, and the world gave me back what I gave them. I gave 120, and the world gave me 120. There are those of you who are complaining. There are those of you who are broke. There are those of you who are not where you're supposed to be, and it has nothing to do with this company. It has everything to do with you just told me you're giving 50%, and you're giving 50%, and you want 120%, and it don't work like that. If they got to get 120, you got to get 120.
All right, all right, all right.
If the company is giving 120, make some noise. So watch this. Principle number one, whatever percent you give to this, if you make this a hobby, then it's going to be a hobby to you. I'm just saying, if you make it a hobby, if you do this every night at 8 o'clock to 9, and that's the only time you do it, and it's a hobby to you, but you're looking at homegirl and wonder why she's blowing up because it's not a hobby to her, it's her craft. She honors her craft. She's taking it serious, and as a result of her taking it serious, she's getting a return on her investment and you not.
Okay.
You playing with it.
Come on.
Amen. And let me say this to you. I had to ask them if it's all right to say this to y'all. For some of you, it's not only a hobby, amen, but when you go on Facebook Live, it's like you're not even taking it serious. I'm not taking you serious because, listen to me, I'm not taking you serious because you ain't taking you serious.
Come on.
I'm turning on Facebook Live, I'm like, what? Like, you probably wanted to clean up back there first before you I ain't mad at you, but I can't take it serious if you ain't taking it serious. Now listen to me very closely. You went Facebook Live, I went to go watch you, and you got your son in the video like he a partner. Get your child out the video. Nobody want to see your child with you. I'm not trying to see your baby. Listen to me very closely. And I ain't mad at your baby, but at your 9 to 5, you just can't bring your baby up there to your 9 to 5. Killing me.
Oh my God.
I'm watching your video, you going live, I'm looking at the ceiling, like what am I selling? You selling jewelry or you're selling? I'm seeing ceiling fans going on the back.
Hello, E.T.
I got the ceiling fan. I'm distracted. Is it jewelry or a ceiling fan I'm looking at?
Okay, come on.
So listen to me, number one, I became, listen to me, and you don't have no excuses. Look, when you go Eric Thomas, my mother got pregnant with me at 17 years old. South side of Chicago. My mother lied to me about who my biological father was. I lived in abandoned buildings, ate out of trash cans, went to Oakwood in 89, I promise you didn't graduate till like 2000 something. Like, when I tell you don't have no excuse, I woke up one day and was like, Eric, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life, E? Why is it taking you so long to finish school? What are you doing with your life? What's going on, man? Like, take life serious. And when I gave life 120%, I looked up one day, I had passed Zig Ziglar, I had passed Arnold Schwarzenegger, I had passed Tony Robbins, I had passed Les Brown, and I was the #1 motivational speaker in the world. Why? Because I was grinding. And let me tell you something. You have an advantage that I don't have. I didn't have an entity as strong as Paparazzi supporting me. I did not, if they would have been my sponsors, I would have been #1 a long time ago. If they would have given me a platform, they've given you a platform. So you gotta do me a huge favor. This is not a hobby. This is not a hustle. This is a craft. Treat it as such, and you will go to the next level.
Yeah.
Write that down. Write that down. Good.
Okay.
So do me a favor. Can we, don't worry about it. Let me get this slide. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be doing slides. All right, now watch this. Watch this, the first slide. I forgot. I wasn't paying attention. Watch this slide. Thank you, guys. Watch this first slide. All right, this is important. All right? All right, because I want you to understand, it's not what you do, it's how you do what you do. All right? So it's not what you do. There are 3 or 4 of us that can do the same thing, right? You were good. Go back to the other one. You were good. Right? Watch this. The what is more important than the when and the how. Right? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? All right, so I've got a young lady, really, it's sisters, the Trotters, And Heather, they're all like sisters. Heather is like a sister to me. And I call Heather because, Heather went to college, right, guys? It was crazy. Heather went to college, and I would notice, like, she wasn't working. I'm like, girl, what you doing? You not working? Like, every time I see you on the computer, like, live, cooking, right? She just be cooking all the time, right? She cooking 3 meals a day. I'm like, yo, you want some Leave It to Beaver stuff? Like, this is crazy. Like, every time I see you, you cooking. 7 days a week, you cooking. You in the kitchen like this the 60s. Like, you got a degree. Go get a job. Like, what are you doing with your life, right? So I call her. I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to understand. Her kids don't ever go out to eat. When the kids have their friends have a birthday party, she make all their food. Like, they never go out to eat. She makes 3 meals a day. I'm thinking, like, this is crazy. Like, you idolizing your kids. You worshiping your kids. As a big brother, I gotta call, what I'm saying? Because I'm feeling like you're wasting your talent here. What are you doing with your life? Like, you worshiping these kids. Like, who cooks for their kids 3 times a day? Who does that? Right? Like, when there's a birthday party, she cooks everything from scratch. I'm like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? So, I pick up the phone and I call. Matter of fact, we talked today. And she says that the reason why she quit her job does not work. Wasted her degree. The reason why she cooks from scratch every single day, the reason why she does this is not because she's fanatical. She's like, I'm not a fanatic, bro. That's not what I am. Like, I'm not zealous. Like, I'm not like a health freak, like a vegan freak. She said, but the challenge is my 4 children are allergic to milk. They're allergic to cheese. They're allergic to flaxseed. They're allergic to this, to that. And so they break out. So I cook every single day so that I can protect my children's health. And I was like, makes sense now. Got it, makes sense. It makes sense why you're cooking 3 times a day. It makes sense why you're cooking everything from scratch. It makes sense why you up at 6 o'clock in the morning in the kitchen to 8:30, 9 o'clock. It makes sense now. You are not cooking because you just want to be a health freak. You are cooking like this because your children are sick and you want to make sure you do everything you possibly can as a mother to ensure their health. Listen to what I'm saying. It's not what you do, it's why you do what you do. And if you're doing this thing as a hobby and you don't have a passion or a purpose for it, it's not going to look the same as a mother who wants to make sure that her children are healthy. It's not going to happen. So listen to me right now, you gotta catch what I'm saying. Why do you do what you do? That's the first box. Put that in the first box. This is so critical. Why? Put that in the first box. When you go home, why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you do what you do? And when you tell me why you do what you do, there should be a passion in it that's so deep that when you do whatever you do it at 120. Because if you really have a why, if you really have a purpose, if you really have a function for why you're doing what you're doing, it's gonna take off. And so when I speak, I tell kids all the time, if you're trying to get into the speaking business to make money, you'll never catch me. I'm trying to change the world. All you're trying to do is drive a nice car and live in a nice home. I'm trying to catch Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm trying to catch Rosa Parks. I'm trying to catch Mother Teresa. I'm trying to catch Gandhi. I'm trying to catch Nelson Mandela. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm trying. Every person that has ever spoken before, I honor this craft. And I'm trying to be in 2019 what Dr. Martin Luther King was in 1960. You can't catch me if you just want money. My why is too strong. And for some of you, the reason why you're not as successful as you want to be in this business because you're only doing it for a couple of extra dollars. Let me tell you something. When you understand how powerful this company is and how much money you can make, and if you understood that you can help kids go to college from this company, you can help build churches from this company, you hear what I'm saying? That you can provide water in certain parts of Africa that don't have water. When you start doing it for that reason and not you just want to buy a Louis, listen to me. If you want to buy a Louis, you can just go to Uber. You can get with Uber and get a Louis.
Right,
I'm just being real. Don't waste this company's. Don't waste their effort. Don't waste their time. Don't waste their commitment on the purse. This is much bigger than the purse. Yeah. You see how many people in this room, and this is not a quarter of the people that believe in this company and work for this company. Your why for working with this company should be greater than just trying to get a purse. And so when you leave today, I need a why that will make you wake up as a mother at 6 o'clock in the morning and make you cook 3 meals a day and make you go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning thinking about cooking your baby a cake from scratch and making ice cream out of frozen bananas. You'll do whatever it takes to make sure your children are healthy. And when you have that type of passion and that type of drive and that type of focus,
Your head better?
you can change the world. You think they started this company so a whole bunch of people can join and just get purses?
No. I got a free one.
All right, I'm going to the next one. But listen to me, I gotta keep going back to your child in the Facebook Live. Please don't do that. I want to get off of it, but I can't get off.
Grandbaby,
I
that's
just
a lie.
have this image in my mind of seeing your fans just spinning and spinning and spinning.
She only went on mine.
Like jewelry fans. Like, what are we selling? Fans or jewelry? What are we selling? No, for real, guys. I'm an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur. So listen to me very closely. When I say I can, I will. Listen to what I'm telling you. I will never forget the day I became the #1 motivational speaker in the world. I actually became #1 before I became #1.
Yeah.
Watch this. It was crazy. I got a phone call one day. I want you to know that whoever the top seller is in his business, I want you to know that they're human and they have absolutely nothing on you but their work ethic and their vision. Now, I don't know who the #1 individuals are, but I know they fan ain't spinning. I do know that. I do know they ain't got their kids sitting right next to them. Mommy! Hold on a second. Give me 1 minute. What do you want? I'm selling jewelry. No, they don't have that. Watch this. Watch this. I became #1 in the world when I took myself serious. I'll never forget saying to myself, like, yo, E, for real, you gotta start studying, you gotta start reading. I went and got my master's, I went and got my PhD. I'm not telling you to go get a PhD. I'm not telling you to get a master's. What I'm telling you is I realized that I couldn't compete with Tony Robbins. I couldn't compete with Zig Ziglar. I couldn't compete with Tracy, whatever. I couldn't compete with these individuals. Kawasaki, I couldn't compete with these guys because I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. Nothing wrong with Detroit. But my parents worked at Ford and GM. Listen to me very closely. My mama worked at Ford, right? My stepfather worked at GM. Listen to me very closely. The language that I needed to speak, they didn't give me that language. So when I went to Michigan State, it wasn't for a degree. I got a master's and a PhD from Michigan State. It don't hang nowhere. I don't even let people call me Dr. Thomas. I'm not interested. Why did I go? Because I needed to hear the language of the majority because I cannot compete with the language that I had. So I spent my money and my time to sit under the best. I heard how they spoke. I heard the language that they used. I heard the code. I heard the rules. I spent 6, 7 years in the classroom, and then once I came out, I'm like, yo, it's showtime now. It's competition now. It's on now. I have studied for 6 years. I've taken my craft serious. Somebody give me the belt. I'm the #1 motivational speaker in the world. Let me get the belt now. Let me get the belt. It's mine. Listen to me. Many of you want the stage before you put it in the ground. You want the stage. You want the spotlight. You want what the #1 salespeople have. You want to live like they live, but you don't want to grind like they grind. You don't want to make the sacrifices that they make, and you got to stop that. And so I'll never forget saying to myself, like, yo, I put in the work. It's showtime. I got a call randomly. Hey, E.T. I'm like, yes, sir. This is Les Brown. I'm like, yo, what's up, Les? You want to stop trying to be cool? What up, Les? You good? You know what I'm saying? Shaking like, this Les Brown, Les Brown. Les was like, E.T., bro, you one of the best, bro. And I want to train you. I want to work with you because I know you're going to be one of the best. And I want to work with you. I'm like, let's go. Where can you meet? He was like, meet me in Orlando. I'm like, when? He's like, whenever. I was like, I'll see you next week. Sat down with Les Brown. I bought the hotel room. I bought a suite, had snacks, everything. I was trying to be super impressive. Les come in, we kicking it. I called Les 2 weeks later and was like, yo, Les, you know, I want so-and-so and so-and-so. He said, stop, you the best in the world, kid. Nobody has the heart that you have. Nobody is humble as you are. All these other dudes like me, we making money, we're not going into prisons. We're not going into youth detention centers. We're not going to elementary schools for free. We're not going to the middle schools for free. You got a heart for the people. You're the best in the world. Nobody has the heart that you have. Nobody has the soul that you have. You're the best. Don't you ever tell me his name. Don't you ever call that name out again. You're the best. Listen to me very closely, y'all. I'm just being real. I just want to be transparent. I just want to be transparent. I went from probably making $5, $10 grand to making $50,000, $60,000. And watch this. I'm gonna tell you what changed. I didn't get to go to the Wizard of Oz. I didn't get a new voice. I didn't get new courage. You know what I'm saying? Oh, let's see. I didn't go get see the Wizard. I'm not the Wizard of Oz. I didn't go see the Wizard. You know what changed? If you don't catch anything else before you leave, catch this. You know what changed? When I got off the phone with Les Brown, I began to see myself in the way Les saw me and the world saw me. And when I got off that phone, I had a confidence.
Okay.
Oh, all right, this one is important. This is why a lot of y'all ain't on the next level. In the back of my mind, I always felt like my mama got pregnant with me at 17 years old. Although I got a gift, I'm an illegitimate child. My biological father was not in my life. I always felt, even though I would get on stage and I'd pour my heart out, even though I get on stage and I knew I did what God wanted me to do, I would feel like I'm a high school dropout. I got a little baby record for stealing in the mall. I would always feel inferior. I would get in front of certain groups and corporations, and I would, look in the audience. There might be 5,000 white males, and I would go on stage. Even though they hired me, I'd go on stage and kind of feel like I don't belong there. Only one thing changed in my life, guys. One thing, the day I woke up and realized I'm a bad man. The day I woke up and realized that I am a royal priesthood in the chosen generation. The day I woke up and realized I'm the head and not the tail. The day I woke up and realized I'm a leader and not a boy. The day I realized I am royal. And even though my father wasn't in my life, that's his fault. And even though my mama got pregnant and didn't know she was pregnant and didn't necessarily want me, I am a blessing despite the fact that I was born under crazy circumstances. I'm the best in the world and I'm gonna start acting like it. Oh, y'all not hearing me. I'm gonna show you one more time. I'm gonna keep it real simple. I just woke up one day and embraced my royalness.
That's right.
I just woke up one day and got on the same stage. I didn't grow no more. Outwardly, I didn't. I didn't get no taller, but I did get a little wider. You know what I'm saying? Amen. But I wasn't tripping. I walked him out, and I need you to understand that you have exactly what it takes. That you, just as you are enough. That if you've been through 4 marriages, that's their fault, not yours. I don't care what you've been through. If you lost a child, so what? You still on the fact that you lost a child. That's the will of God. All things work together for the good. Get past that. Let's move on. I was bankrupt. You were bankrupt. Now you're about to be a millionaire. You're talking about what was. Let's talk about what is. Listen to me, Greg. I want you to hear my language. My language when I was in poverty is, I wonder what would happen. My language as a royal is, I wonder what and how much is going to happen.
Right.
So I just started walking in my, I just started walking in my,
Yeah.
I just started walking in my, God had 5 million options in the womb and he chose me. I just started walking in the,
Yeah.
I just started walking in it, and I started getting the calls from the NFL, and I just started getting the calls from the NBA. And I just, for those of you who don't know, Chris Paul, who had his brand, his Jordan brand, just did a shoe with all my quotes on. When you start accepting who you are, they will accept who you are. And so you on Facebook Live selling something you don't necessarily believe, like you selling it like you a bird. If you could just buy my. I got 4 pieces, and I would just love if you could just buy 1 piece for me.
Come on, man.
You hear what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Listen very closely. I let companies know now, like, yo, I'm exclusive. I just had a guy who paid me $10,000 a month. I don't know how long ago, beginning of the year, he was going through some stuff in his marriage, and he didn't do what I told him to do, and he called me back the other day, was like, yo, E.T., I'm ready to come back with you, 10,000, you can do 20. I said, bro, it's over. I'm royal, bro. I don't need your money, you blew it. You paid me when your wife didn't even really want you to do it, and then you made me look bad because you didn't put my principles into action. You think you're gonna pay me more to take my brand and throw it? I don't throw pearls at swine. You can't pay me enough to mess up my brand.
You help us, Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, you're not hearing what I'm saying? You can't pay me enough to mess up my brand. And so you on there like, I get 3 pieces and you can just Girl, you better let them know, like flat out. Like, you better be lucky I'm selling it for this price, and you better be lucky I only got 2. And you better have a speak this week. You got 10 minutes. Don't come. Come on, somebody. And you better wear it and walk around with it like it's something. Hear what I'm saying? Come on, say it with me. I'm royal.
I'm royal. I'm royal.
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Ain't nothing you can do about it. I'm royal. I'm royal. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Give yourself some energy.
This is my year. This is my time. This is my moment. Ain't nothing you can do about it. I must. I must. I must. I must. Now. Now. Now.
I need you to do me a huge favor. Come on.
Come on.
I need you to do me a huge favor. All right, so we got the wine. Make sure you put the wine in. On the second one, I need you to put I belong. I belong. And I need you to walk like it from this point forth. I need you to act like you belong. I need you to walk like it. So there are no limits. There are no limits. There are no limits. People are calling me and telling me, Eric, you know what's going on in the world? I said, listen to me very closely. I'm aware of some of the things that are happening, and I'm praying for them. I'm praying for them every day.
Come on.
But that's not my reality.
Hello.
I live in a different America.
Yes. Yes. Come on now. Come on. Yes.
No. I belong. I need you to walk like it. Get off all that other, that racism, prejudice, sexism, all of that. You let everybody have that. That's real. And it's real for them. Let them have it. I got pulled over by the police the other day. Just got home. I just got home. I dropped my wife off at the house. I went to the Indian food place that she loves, picked up her some food. Her last request was, time it right so when it gets home it's hot. Listen to me, I'll be married to her this year, 30 years. Listen to me very closely. Listen to me very closely. The police officer pulled me over, and the first thing I told my man, I said, listen to me, bro, whatever you do it quickly. I got my wife food in the bag. Y'all think I'm playing. And listen to me very closely. He wasn't no black police officer.
Exactly.
I don't care what he is. He said, bro, I don't care who you are or what you are, bro. I'm trying to tell you, my wife told me to bring this food home. I promise you. Like, I'm not playing games. The man was like, where's your registration or whatever? I promise y'all, I was so focused on getting food, I couldn't even find it. And I had it in my head and didn't know I had it in my hand.
Wow.
But number 2, when you know you belong, young cop, young dude, he was a young white cop. You could tell like he hadn't been on the force for long. And my man was like trying to be like on some baby aggressive stuff.
Baby aggressive.
I looked at my man like, yo, bro, first of all, what you stopped me for? He was like, well, your tent is kind of, I said, bro, this is like factory tent.
Come on,
right? And before we go there, before I go here with you, I put the window, that other cop came, put your window down, please. Put my window down. He was like, yo, Joe, stop tripping. That's E.T. What up, E.T.? I'm like, go home, E. I'm like, oh, made that happen. That wouldn't have happened to me 10 years ago. But because I'm royal, my man gets out like, you don't know who you like, you don't know who that is? You don't know. No, he looking at the cop like, have you lost your mind? Right. This E.T. E.T. go home.
Out the water.
So do me a favor. Number two, catch me. Number two, when you move forward from now on, in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, I need you to read, I'm a royal priesthood. Now listen to me, when you read it, if something negative comes up, write it down. You're gonna hear, I'm a royal priesthood, you're gonna hear something say, but you got an abortion. Scratch it. Write it down, scratch it. That has nothing to do with my royal.
That's right. Yes. That's right.
My husband left me for another woman. Scratch it. That has nothing to do with your royal.
Right.
That has nothing to do with your royal. And the only person that can talk you out of being royal is you.
Amen.
Come on now.
So number one, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? And I told my son, who had called me a couple weeks ago, tripping like, yo, Dad, I ain't gonna be like you. You know, you getting up all early, you working all hard, like you ain't having no fun. I promise you, when we left that crib and he saw that crib, and he might have to stay there for a couple months until he get on his feet, he looked and was like, oh, I understand exactly why you're doing what you're doing. Him and his mom like this. He like, yup, my mom got MS and she ain't gonna never have to work again. I see what you're doing, Dad. Like for real, and I thought he saw it before, but I'd be downplaying. Like, you know what I'm saying, the Lord has blessed me financially, but I don't wear jewelry. I live in a very modest house. I don't really do that. And so maybe he didn't really know. But when he saw the crib, he was like, oh, okay. And when I walked on the property, he saw how people were like, oh, that's E.T. Can I get a pic? I watch your videos on. And the lady like, who is E.T.? They're like, you better go find out. Because you might want him to live in your neighborhood.
Hello.
So number one, why are you doing what you're doing? Because if you're doing it for something intrinsic, if you're doing it for a valid reason, that no obstacle that comes up against you will get the victory because you want this thing so bad. I'll never forget when they sent my mother-in-law home with cancer. Metastasized throughout her whole body. It was like maybe in her liver or something, colon, and then it was just everywhere. It was like, go home. Spend the next 6 months with your family. I'll never forget going in that hospital room with her. And I remember her saying to me, I only have one child, and I was never married. And I have two beautiful grandchildren. I will not die until they graduate from high school.
Amen.
I remember her telling me that. The doctor's like, go home. There's nothing more we can do for you. It's all through your body. When I tell y'all my mother-in-law went home, and not only did she go home and say she wasn't gonna die, she didn't even change her diet, y'all. I come to the crib, she eating Chinese food from right off the block. That you know you ain't gonna be eating Chinese food on 8 Mile. You ain't gonna be eating Chinese food on 8 Mile and Trojan. Like that ain't where you eat you. Like you right there eating Chinese food. She eating Little Caesar pizza, hot and ready. And it ain't even hot, it's cold by now. I'm like, yo, aren't you supposed to be doing like juicing or something, like fruits, nuts, and grains? She got like 2-day-old potluck food from the church that we had at the fellowship sitting out. It ain't even in the refrigerator, it's just sitting out, and she hitting that joint and putting some sweet and sour sauce on it like it's fresh. I'm like, unbelievable. You got cancer. She's like, I will not die until my grandkids graduate from high school. Jalen graduated from high school 2012. She was there. Jada graduated from high school in 2016. She was there.
Look at God.
Jalen graduated from Michigan State University 2017. She was there.
Look at God.
She was about to graduate this year, and she said, I ain't just doing high school, I'm going to do college.
All right.
You are stronger than you believe. You can have more than any generation has ever had. And it starts with this opportunity, and it starts now. No more excuses. No more excuses. I have been blessed financially, and I'm telling y'all, I did the greatest thing that I ever did, and I never thought I would do it. My wife and I put almost $300,000 into a facility and built a church. I'm building churches now.
Hallelujah.
I'm calling my alma mater and putting kids through college. I'm not saying get money just for stuff. Have a greater cause and a greater purpose, and you'll be able to do all that, and God will lead some change for you.
Won't he do it?
I'm going to say it again. And God will be a blessing through you,
Yes.
but God will lead some change for you.
Yes.
All right.
I can.
I can.
I can.
I can.
I can't be number one in this industry.
I can be number one in this industry.
I will be number one in this industry.
I will be number one in this industry.
I must be number one in this industry.
I must be number one in this industry.
Let me just ask, is there enough room where are we? Is there enough room for more than 5 or 6 people where my founders at? Are my founders here? I just want to know if there's enough room. Is there enough room for more than 10 people to be number one?
Yes.
Is there enough room for 40 people to shine?
Yes.
Is there enough room for 1,000 people to shine? Make sure you're one of those
Say
people.
it, okay?
All right, now, number 3 is what I need to do for me. This is important. As you will become successful, don't get overwhelmed. Come on, write that down, write that down, write that down. This is important. People call me all the time, ask me, E.T., how you do it? You a pastor of a church. You got a wife with a chronic illness that you're there for 24/7. You got kids. You got a church. You got all kind of companies. I got a solar company. We've got a real estate company out of Chicago. We've got life coach. How do you do it? Listen to me very closely. I do each one because I have the ability to do each one.
Come on.
Listen to me
Yes.
very closely.
Yes.
I do not spend my time feeling overwhelmed. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not supposed to be easy, but it can get done, and if it can get done, I'm going to do it. And so listen to me very closely. The first thing I need you to do, because you're saying to yourself, how am I going to do my full-time business, and I'm going to do this part-time, and make it full-time one day? Listen to me, sweetie, I can't explain this to you, but you got to get to a place in your heart like my mother-in-law. You got to get to a place like Heather Martin, Heather Trotter. You got to get to a place where it's like, it has to be done, so I got to do it. Like for real, I can't baby you, I can't pamper you. At some point, you got to wake up and just have that dog. At some point, you just got to get up and say, yes, it's going to be hard, but the rewards are worth every sweat, blood, and tear I got to go through. To be financially independent is worth it. To put my kids through school.
Yes.
To have my wife with a chronic illness. I studied MS, y'all. I only found one thing. I'm not a doctor. I only found one thing, stress. It just kept coming up, stress, stress, stress. I called my son and my daughter. I said, do me a favor. I will break your neck. Don't bring no more stress to your mama. You got a problem, you call me.
Come on.
You need something, you call me. Do not call her and stress her out. Now, she loves you to life. We don't have that kind of bond. I'm not really sure what happened in the room with the two of y'all, but something happened in there that y'all like thick as thieves. That didn't happen to me. I didn't get that. So my allegiance is not to neither one of y'all. My allegiance is to her. So I'm gonna break your neck. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it 100. Now, she loved you to life, unconditional. I promise y'all, I saw today on YouTube, there was a dumb deer or gazelle that just ran in the water, and an alligator coming out of nowhere, and it's just running, about to get caught, and the mom just came out of nowhere, jumped in the water, and just stood in the middle of that water.
Okay.
I was like, what mother love is that? Thank you, Jesus. I ain't got that. I'm looking at my man like, you shouldn't have got out there. You do better than that. Why would you get me one football? I told you to stay out here. Now you about to get your butt ate up, and ain't nothing I can do about it. I'm a dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like reprimanding my man. Mom just ran straight up out in that joint. And he just stood right in the path, like, ah. And the alligator just whooped, blah, killed her. And she was just like, yes. I'm like, no. All right, so listen to me very closely. It's something you got to turn on in your spirit, in your soul. It's not something that you have to do. It's in your DNA.
Yes.
It's just something you got to cut on. Amen. I think about being taken from the motherland, being spread all over the place, stripped of your language, stripped of your people, having to work from sun up and sundown without getting paid. You don't get a sick day. And somehow you make it through all of that because you have a dream that your ancestors will be on stage one day.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
You go through all of that, believing that one day in this country, we will all be able to have opportunity, which we are blessed to have. Don't y'all understand that if you lived in certain countries right now, if you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning if you want to, you can work 12 hours if you want to, the opportunities don't exist.
Right. That's it.
And you're going to sit here and live in America and waste it?
Yes. Come on.
You in the double, you're in the MGM, you know what happened here?
Right.
You know how many fights, you know how much money has been made in this place? Do you know where you are? You're in Las Vegas. Do you understand that this is a desert and somebody took a desert and made something wonderful in the desert? And you're gonna tell me that in your personal life, you can't take your desert and create your own Vegas and desert? They done built the desert up and made it beautiful.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go home and take your desert and take it to the next level. And you're not gonna tell me how hard it is. Nobody cares how hard it is, but you're gonna commit to getting it done.
That's right. Yeah.
Why? Because you're royal and ain't nothing you can do about it. You were made to be a lender. Stop borrowing. You were made to have a... Listen to me real quick. I got to get out of here. They got me on time. Watch this. So I saw the crib, right? Worth a few millions. Beautiful home, overlooking or whatever. I called the bank today. I'm laughing. I call the bank. I tell her I need a letter. So she calls me back and was like, okay, she asked me a whole bunch of questions. It's funny. And so she's like, how much you want me to write down? I told her what I wanted to write down. And she was like, oh, it's okay. I looked at your credit score. I said, boo, you looked at my credit score. I knew my credit score before I called you.
Come on. Come on.
I didn't call you to validate me. I called you to give me the loan so I can get my wife the house. She called me and said, oh, the house you own, you don't have a mortgage. Duh. The cars you have, you're not paying no notes on none of the cars you have. The only debt from what we've seen is your time. I said, that's it. Why? Because I'm not saying it anymore. I'm living it. I'm royal. I live. I don't have to borrow. I live, and I'm doing you a favor. Because if you don't treat me right, I got 10 other lenders that stand in the line that want the same opportunity you want.
Come on, speak it.
Stop playing small. You ain't helping nobody.
Okay.
When you leave this room right now, stop playing small. Stop apologizing. Stop trying to get people to like you. Live in your greatness. Live in
Hallelujah.
Take this product.
Look, then she looked down at me.
Next level.
And you tell me that all the time.
Stop telling me how overwhelmed you are and tell me what you want me to look at.
Come on.
You pick up the phone and you ask for help. You look at the downline and you ask for help. You look for the leaders in this company, you ask them how they did it, and don't waste their time. You get on every phone call. You come to every conference. You read every brochure.
Come on. Tell them.
You watch every YouTube video. You learn this company like the back of your hand, and then you prosper in the way they design you to prosper.
Yeah.
Everybody that's telling you it can't be done, cut them.
Hello. Yeah.
Everybody that's sowing in negativity,